Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Cassidy Paris to the program today, zooming all the way in from Melbourne, Australia. How are you, Cassidy?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's fantastic stuff. I've been doing my homework on you. Um, you just released a video the other day for a song called Wannabe, which is really cool. You're putting out new music, but at the same time, you guys down there are sort of back in lockdown now, so you can't really go out and play live. It's got to be like a
Mhm.
double-edged sword.
It is a little. I think it's really cool that I was still able to release it though, and I think that's the magic in social media at the moment, that you can still release things and you can still, like, music. I always say is my savior, and it really was. That did apply during lockdown. It was my medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. Medicine for everybody. Um,
Absolutely.
I really like that song. The way the guitars kind of kick in sort of gave me there's a group called the Donnas, kind of gave me that vibe with them. Have you heard? I take it you've probably heard of them, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Thank you
Yeah,
so much though. I really appreciate it.
yeah. And you must have had fun making that video with all those costume changes.
I did actually. We only had, I think it was three costume changes. We have
Yeah.
had more in previous videos. I remember when I shot my first clip talk about it, I had about 10 or 11. So that was very interesting. But this one was only three. So that was, I love thinking about what to wear and stuff in the clip and making sure that it aligns. And one of the outfits was supposed to be the wannabe. So the person who was like living this fabricated life, like a sarcastic kind of take on things. So it kind of went with like the tongue-in-cheek vibe of the song.
Yeah. The outfit I liked best was that white outfit. It gave you
Yeah.
sort of, I could see Fergie wearing that.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. Very cool.
Thank you.
EP Flirts is coming out when it was it, sorry, in September?
September 1st. Yes, very exciting.
Yeah, and you can pre-order now and you get 3 guitar picks if you pre-order before September 1st.
So basically, with that, you had to be within the first 100 orders, and I was really lucky that I got everyone.
Wow.
The first 100 have already been, so
Okay.
you can get some guitar picks, I do believe,
Yeah.
and we will be selling them as well as the postcards. So we had a little like package deal for the first 100, but I was fortunate enough to sell them out, so I was very excited about that.
Very cool. The other thing I noticed in all your videos, I wanted to talk about a couple other ones, but we'll stick with Wannabe for now. You
Mhm.
have an awesome camera presence. I
Thank
mean,
you.
I'm sure they tell you, look at it as if the camera's not there. And
Mhm.
I thought your presence there, had you done any sort of acting or anything like that in plays in school or anything?
I actually never got into acting. I have always had like, I don't know, I always watched performers since like a very young age. My dad, Steve Janevsky, he's in Wicked Smile at the moment, and he's been
Yeah.
in Black Majesty and the Radio Sun, if you know of those bands.
Yeah, I checked them
Uh,
out.
yeah, so he's been in bands ever since I was a little girl, and I've grown up watching him on stage and watching other performers. I'm very fortunate to have a fantastic support network around me, and I'm just very lucky to be able to have watched a number of performers and take little bits and pieces from their performance and like kind of integrate that into my own. So like I say in many interviews, my dad used to take me to rock concerts as a little girl. I used to go to things like Kiss and Aerosmith, and I've always looked at and watched Lizzie Hale from
Mm,
Hailstorm, but never got to see her. Just because I was under 18 and could never get into the shows, it wasn't
right.
legal for me yet. But also, I love performers like the primary rockers, like the ones that brought it to the forefront initially, like the female ones, Joan Jett, Lita Ford, Pat Benatar, always loved them as well. So I take bits and pieces from everyone, and that's basically how I learn, and I always will be learning.
Excellent. Excellent stuff. Um, the other song I wanted to talk about, just because this one just really, really struck me. There's a melancholiness, a strength to it, it's sort of everything wrapped into everything with Stand.
Hmm.
Awesome video.
Thank you.
Where was that shot?
Stand the video.
Yeah, you were
It
like on the
was shot
beach.
at a beach. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm having a complete mental blank.
Okay.
I will definitely get back to you on that one, but I've completely forgotten where it was shot. That's
Okay. That's fine.
I I'm having a mental blank, but
When
it was shot at a beach. I can assure you.
um, but that song is, and I understand it's sort of special to you as well.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Stand was something I really had been wanting to write for a while after the release of Talk About It. It's basically, it's like a power tune. I really wanted to kind of bring to light some of the issues and stuff I was having at school, and standing up for yourself and
Mm,
making sure that you know that you have the power as a woman. So it was a combination of things, but mostly it was standing up for myself personally with the in terms of bullying.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I was faced with that a little bit in high school, and I never could quite understand it. And that was basically my coping mechanism. I used music as my outlet, and I always do and will continue to do for my whole life. But yeah, that's basically how I portrayed my story through that song Stand.
Yeah, fantastic song. Like I said,
Thank
there's
you.
both a strength and a fragility, a melancholiness, but a I'm gonna beat this type. It was just so many
Yeah.
things to me wrapped up into one.
Thank you so much.
You know,
Appreciate
and
it.
and as the father of two daughters, who yeah, I know one of them's got bullied a little bit, but I remember one daughter's friend was here one night and she was getting
Yeah.
cyber bullied via text. And I got to see it, firsthand, and I saw her reaction and I saw how things were going. And we're like, honey, just put the phone away, just
It's just crazy. And I those internet trolls and keyboard warriors, I never could understand it, but it's just all too common these days. So I really felt like that was a really important thing for me to write about. And in a sense, Wannabe is also kind of linked to that as well. Like in terms of the bullying aspect, there are a lot of people online that portray themselves as these social media influencers,
mhm,
and they're just trying to be something they're not. They're wannabes. And that was basically the whole concept behind the song Wannabe. I wanted to write it. I had the idea maybe halfway through my senior year in high school, and I really wanted to write a song that summarized my high school experience essentially.
yeah.
And I think that Wannabe really is the depiction of that. It's the depiction of my high school experience and all these people within my cohort that wanted to be something that then they weren't.
Mhm, mhm. And that's where, with you being as young as you are, with the social media, in a
Mhm.
way, it can be such a tool for positive, and you can get your music out there so fast. You're not relying on somebody trading a cassette, to somebody halfway around the world. You
Yeah.
could literally put it up on YouTube. But at the same time, there's you're exposing yourself to all the negativity as well that can come through instantaneously. You're not picking up a copy of Rolling Stone and seeing some lone reviewer either loving you or hating you. It's just, everybody can jump on one way or the other, and that's gotta be tough.
Yeah, in a way it is, but I think because of music, honestly, and that as cliche as it sounds, I was able to overcome it. I was able to uh, kind of like reevaluate and change my mentality about social media and say, look, this is social media is helping me. It's getting the word out there, and people that are going to hate on it are going to hate on it anyway.
Right.
And I think that my like I'm so lucky and privileged and blessed to have such a like awesome group of people that support me, and that just completely outweighs all the negativity or some of the few comments that you'll get that are negative in as an artist.
Sure, absolutely. And I was going to save this for a little bit later on in the interview, but I think the timing is right now. The other thing you want to remember is never underestimate the connection that you are making with people in such a positive way.
Mhm.
Music like just totally binds everybody. It helps you through stuff. Here's another example in your video for Song for the Brokenhearted, which I love.
Mhm.
You had that heart needs time quote in the beginning of
Yes.
it. I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm an old guy, but I so remember being in the position of you and that character in the video where it's not working, but you're trying to hang on, and the
Mhm.
quote was dead on. So
Yeah.
never underestimate that, that you truly have a gift there, and it's awesome. It's an awesome gift.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And in terms of that quote and in relation to that song, it was all about kind of accepting and finding myself through music. And I think on many occasions, a lot of people will have relationships or friendships um, that don't turn out the way they thought it would.
Mm,
And I think accepting that that was for a different time in your life and moving forward as a person is really, really crucial and important. So I think that's kind of what I was trying to depict in that song.
yeah, it's a great message. I mean,
Thank you.
it took me a long, long time to learn it, but timing is everything
Mm.
in life,
And I'm still learning it. I'm still learning it, I assure you.
and you will continue to,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you sound like you've got a pretty good head start on things. So you are wise beyond your years, Cassidy.
Thank you. I
Um,
really appreciate it.
you started singing at 9 years old. Was this just around the house? I mean, obviously with your dad being in all those bands and stuff, or did you ever do anything like in chorus or school or?
I actually never really did much at school in terms of music. I took like the music class. Music was basically a thing specifically for me that
Mm,
was dedicated to home. I always jammed with my dad. I have a little story actually. One of the first memories I have of singing, and my dad's obviously not a singer. He's a guitarist, but
sure.
he thought let's get her into this young. So I expressed an interest, obviously, that I wanted to learn how to sing and play guitar. And I remember I went into his bedroom and he was like, "Come in." And then we learnt the song "See You Again" by Miley Cyrus, and that was like one of my first memories of kind of jamming with my dad from a young age. And that kind of just it still resonates with me to this day. And I continue to learn from him, to learn from all the different artists and stuff I'm exposed to. And I there's a lot of knowledge and everything that I'm so grateful that I get from them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got an awesome support network and I'm very fortunate to have that.
And the other thing that's really, really cool, and here's where I can talk as a dad, if you can have a son or a daughter share your passion and be able to
Mhm.
play a role in that and mentor them and watch them grow in it, it is an awesome, awesome gift and feeling. It's amazing. And I'm speaking to you as a dad here. It's just an
Yeah.
amazing feeling. And to have that is really, really special. And the turning point for you kind of came when your dad also gave you a pink guitar with your name on it.
Yes, I actually have a couple of photos with me and a wide smile and really, really curly, like a ringlety hair. And I think at one point I'm wearing an Ace Frehley t-shirt as well.
Yes.
And yeah, I've got this pink guitar with Cassidy written on it, and I just couldn't look more stoked. And I think that really expresses how much I really loved it from a young age. Like I said, my dad was playing a bunch of music to me, Dio and all
Mhm,
this music that I really just grew up with, and I really appreciate as like I continue to grow up.
mhm.
And yeah, it's just really cool thing to look back on.
The other story that I read that I really loved was you and your dad spent a lot of time making, you're supposed to bring in something to share an interest in school with, and you and
Yes,
he made a hailstorm poster, and
yes,
you
we
brought it in and the kids looked at you like, who are you? They didn't know who
yeah.
they were.
Yeah. So I was actually telling this story in an interview this morning that I was doing, and Dad and I stayed up all night and we decorated this huge guitar that we had cut out. Um, and I brought it into class the next day because the project or assignment was to do a poster on one of your favorite bands or artists. And people are bringing things in like Taylor Swift and Katy Perry and all your like your popular music artists. And I brought in a guitar, life-size guitar of paper guitar of Hailstorm, and you had to play one clip, and I chose the apocalyptic clip by Hailstorm, and my entire, I think you call it grade 7, year 7,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We call it year 7 here in
Sure.
Oz. And yeah, they just looked at me and they were so confused. They're like, "Who is this chick and what is she on?" But yeah, I think that's really basically shows how much of like an outcast I was in high school, because everything I was listening to, no one in my cohort was listening to at all, and they had no idea who they were. But I loved it, and I thought there was like magic in that no one else really knew what I was listening to, or knew the bands I was speaking about or jamming out to, and I think that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I've been there. I was always sort of the musicologist in our class in high school, and
Hmm.
I remember when we booked the band for our prom, we were looking at the set list. This is a long time ago, Cassidy, and one of the songs that the band did was "Turning Japanese" by the Vapors. And of course,
Awesome.
I knew it, you know, I'd seen it and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, they do "Turning Japanese" by the Vapors." And the kids looked at me like, "What are you
It's
talking
that.
about?" You know? And of course, this was before YouTube. You couldn't just pull up your phone and look at it, you know? I'm like, trust me, this is a great tune. And the band ended up playing it and everybody loved it. But yeah, so
Yeah.
been in your
That's
shoes, but
story.
I was reveled in it. I always thought it was great, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
I love it. Yeah.
yeah. Paul Lane has sort of mentored you with songwriting and everything. How did you and he meet up?
Yeah, the story of Pauline is an interesting one. My dad used to, well, still does play in a band called the Radio Sun,
Sure.
and his band, the Radio Sun, were actually supporting Pauline when he came out to Australia for the first time. And he actually, we were fortunate enough to have him stay with us, and he does continue to stay with us every time he comes over here.
Neat.
And we were sitting down, and my dad knew that, and so did Paul. Paul knew that I had an interest in music, and we kind of spoke about it. And for the first time, that's when I saw the pathway towards where I wanted to go with my career and my passion.
Mm,
And yeah, I expressed an interest to Paul, and I was like, "Look, I know he's such an awesome, like, he's the complete package." And I always say this, but he really is the rock and roll Mozart. He
mm,
is. Every single time he sat down and played some sort of tune, I'm just in awe. It's incredible how talented he is, and such a down to earth, fantastic guy as well. Some of the stories he tells, I'm like a sponge. I really want to like absorb everything he says, because it's all like such good information and stories.
yeah.
But yeah, we decided to start writing and get into it. And the first track, I kind of threw around a couple of ideas, a couple of songs I liked, kind of sussed out the melody to talk about it, which was my first release.
Mm.
And we wrote that together, and that's how it all came about essentially.
Cool. Now, when it comes to writing songs, were you like a good English student in school, or could you like compose, you know, essays or poems or anything, or is this something that sort of be separated from school songwriting?
I'd probably say that I separated school and songwriting a little bit in terms of like English. I do kind of pride myself on being a pretty good student in high school. I got most things done. I was a little bit of the nerd, but yeah, I got most things done. So just so I could get on top of everything musically as well. So I
Mm,
would get all my schoolwork out of the way, because that's what Dad said. You got to get your schoolwork out of the way, and then you can go treat yourself with music. And that's basically what I used as like my break from school.
Mhm.
It was always an outlet that I could kind of like express myself in. So I took all my experiences and thoughts and everything from school and kind of put that into my music. But I guess school, in a way, I didn't really have that much to do with the music program there. It was very jazz based, and
Okay.
jazz musicians are some of the best musicians. No, um, not putting anything on that at all. I was never really into that sort of music. I was always raised on kind of like rock and roll, so
Right.
I wasn't really that involved in it. But yeah, I think music was just definitely something that was kind of outside of school community for me, at least.
Yeah, cool. Now, Paul helped you with the songwriting. If I've done my research right, and I hope that I've got this name right. I'm trying to read my own writing here. Jason Old was your singing teacher,
He was.
and what did he bring out of you and into you? Were you able to sing naturally, really well, or did that come with lessons, or how did you develop your voice? I guess is what I'm asking.
I think it definitely came with lessons. I actually started playing guitar before I started singing. That was my first instrument, and I knew that I had to get better and I had to grow as a singer. And I think that over specifically like the last 2 years or so, I've been really trying hard to get my voice um, into shape and making sure that it's fit for performing and recording and kind of getting it to where I want it to be. But I think in terms of vocals, you're always going to be learning. And as an artist, even a songwriter, you're always going to be learning. And I think that that's really, there's magic in that. But yeah, I think I always really like sang along to things in the car. It's like the old story, you sing along to things in the shower and everything. But I wouldn't say it came naturally to me. I think I definitely had to work at it.
Hmm. Do you consider yourself more of a singer who plays guitar or a guitarist who sings?
A singer that plays guitar,
Yeah,
definitely.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've of course you're in Australia, you're huge in Japan. You've been to Japan, you've been over here in the States to Chicago. You've got a
hmm
big UK base. Gotta be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It blows my mind how people internationally know my name and listen to my music, and I receive messages and comments daily about how much people are enjoying it, and that's exactly why I do it. It's so cool for an artist to hear or see. I've gotten some really cool videos of little kids mouthing the words to my song or singing along or dancing along, and it's so ridiculously cool. And it's all for that. So I'm very excited to have that. Even though it's small at the moment, that fan base overseas, and I look forward to growing it and meeting everyone soon, because that is so important to me, meeting and interacting with the people who make me who I am.
Yeah. How did you end up? I didn't really research into it. How did you end up coming to Chicago?
Yeah. So actually, I played at a festival in Chicago
Okay.
with my dad and the Radio Sun, who were also playing on the same festival. But that was a really cool experience. I got to meet a whole bunch of people there that had been writing to me from overseas. And that experience really showed me that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life,
Mm.
and how important music is to people. You can see it on their faces when you're performing and they're mouthing the lyrics to your songs. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a definite gift, and never underestimate that connection. It must be an amazing thing. Um,
Definitely.
your parents are both primary school teachers. I read you sort of are in line to have that to maybe fall back on.
Yes, definitely to fall back on. Music is, and I think always will be, my priority.
Mhm.
I definitely want to have like a fallback plan as well, and not so much a fallback plan, I wouldn't even call it. I just want to be educated as
Sure.
well. So making sure that I go to university whilst I was doing music was a really important thing for me. But I think I can definitely, and I've read about artists like Diamante, and she just finished, I think it was a business degree whilst doing all this music stuff. And I think that's so uber cool. And I think that that can definitely be done with the amount of time and energy that you put into everything. So if you put in the work, I think that it can be done, definitely.
Yeah. What subjects would you teach? Would you lean towards teaching?
Definitely something artistic. I've always, since I was young, been a very, very artistic based person.
Hmm.
And I think that that's always going to be the same in my life. Very, very creative in terms of um, like songwriting and stuff like that. It's always been a constant in my life. So anything from visual arts to music will always be my number one, but visual arts I've always really enjoyed as well.
Cool. I know I've talked to people from like Sweden before, and there the arts programs are really extraordinary. They almost have like
Mm.
rehearsal spaces that kids can go to, or young adults or whatever, kids that are in school, and basically, put a band together and go in and like record and jam and stuff. Is there much of a scene like that down in Australia? Is the arts really to the forefront?
Um, in some areas, I would say yes. I like Australia is still pretty small in terms of like reasonably small in terms of music and everything. I'm not so sure about visual arts as much, but I know that we do have areas, of course, that you can um, delve deeper into it. But I'm not too sure in terms of like visual arts, but music, it's still quite small here. So that's why I love when I go overseas. And I
Mm.
think one day I definitely aspire to get over to Sweden because I have a couple of fans there, and I see so many fantastic acts and everything come from Sweden. Like I
Yeah,
love the band Heat.
right.
Um, they're like my number one. I'm obsessed with Heat.
Mhm.
Ever since I played at that festival, like alongside them, that was super super cool.
Yeah.
And there's just a number of people that come from Sweden that I'm like, whoa, I want to see them live and I want to play there as well.
Yeah, there's some amazing stuff that comes out of Sweden. Wigwam is one of my favorites, Love
Yeah.
that band. So I got to ask you, I always throw this out when I talk to an Australian artist. The band Cheetah is one of my favorites of all time.
Hmm.
Bang, bang, bang. Is that one you're aware of?
I'm actually not too educated on that one.
They're
I'm
from
gonna write it
Australia.
down right now just so I can research it after.
Yeah, the
But
album was called Rock and Roll Women. It was a pair of sisters from Australia,
uh-huh.
who were amazing, amazing
Awesome.
stuff.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
suss that out right after this interview.
Yeah, go to YouTube and type in Cheetah, and the song that they have a bunch of them on there. The one I always go to is Bang Bang. The energy in that song and the way those girls sing it, it's just amazing.
Awesome.
Also read you're an avid gym junkie and you love boxing.
I do. I'm actually very lucky because my next door neighbor is an ex police officer. So he trains us in boxing a little bit, and that's super cool. But yeah, I love going to the gym. It's like a bit of me time. So
Mhm.
I love listening to a bunch of different artists, and that's where I hear a lot of music at the gym when I'm training. But yeah, like one of my favorite things to do, it's music, and then gym and stuff like that. I'm obsessed with.
It helps you get rid of all that excess adrenaline.
Yeah, exactly. And I think just like in terms of match fitness and stuff, like getting up uh, your gym abilities and making sure that you're building strength and everything is really important. And getting that fitness level up has really, really helped me over the last 2 years, really.
I mean, sure, to go on stage, you've got to be in shape, and with all the travel and everything, you've got to eat right,
Mhm.
and so yeah, definitely some good habits to have there. So,
Definitely.
once again, we're talking with Cassidy Paris here. Her EP Flirt is coming out September 3rd. She just released a video for the single Wannabe, which is awesome. Check out the other stuff on YouTube as well. Um, Cassidy, I always like to end with some fun, silly questions. I'm hoping these are questions maybe you've never been asked before. Does it sound good?
I love it.
Are you generally organized or do you thrive on chaos?
Oh, difficult. I would say a combination, but I'm not gonna pick a combination because I feel like it's a yes or no answer. I would say that I do thrive on chaos sometimes,
Okay.
um, because working under pressure uh, sometimes works for me, but most of the time I'm pretty organized, especially with the music side of things.
Mhm.
Um, Everything else can wait, but the music side of things, I feel like I'm pretty consistently organized with.
Okay. If you could be born in another era, what era would you choose?
Born or
Yeah,
bored?
born,
Born.
born. Say if you would you want to go like 60s, 70s, anything, 80s,
80s. 80s. I
80s?
always say it and I will never go back on it. There are so many cool things about the 80s. I loved the music, the fashion,
Mm,
just everything. Like all the record stores and stuff, like we just
yes,
don't have that anymore.
yes.
And I'll like pull out records and stuff and listen to those artists and even in some senses dress like those artists. But I would have loved to be around in the 80s.
I was there, Cassidy, and it was awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. My dad
Uh,
always says it.
yeah. The other word I use, the two words I use is magic. And the thing I always use when I talk about the 80s is we had so much fun. It was
I love
so
it.
much fun.
Awesome.
One basic item you always throw in when you go out on tour, and I'm not talking guitar or picks or anything like that, just one basic item that you have to have in your travel bag, other than the obvious.
That is difficult. Probably like that is difficult. Probably like my phone.
Okay.
Um, just because like responding to emails and keeping up to date with everything, especially with the coronavirus situation. Want to
Yes.
make sure that I'm on top of the news.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Let's see. I had one right here. All right. Speaking of your phone, have you ever prank called anyone?
Yes, I've
Yeah.
definitely done that to my cousin way too many times. Or even with my cousins. I remember even doing it, my brother Cooper. I remember doing it to my dad as a youngster. Yeah, so
Very cool.
definitely.
If you could interview anyone, who would you pick to interview?
Oh, is that like a dead or alive question?
Either way.
Oh, I'm obsessed with like Joan Jett and Lita Ford. So I
Mm,
would probably say one of those two, or Pat Benatar. I'm not sure. I,
yeah,
I love all those female rockers. So like
sure.
any of those three, give me them to interview, and I would be like in heaven.
All right. If you could speak any language instantly, what would you choose?
French. Oh my
French?
gosh, they just sound so put together. I don't know. I'm so
Um,
sorry. That was my door creaking because my dog decided to
uh,
grace us
that's
with his
that's fine.
presence.
I'm amazed mine haven't started barking yet, so it's good. They usually like to make a cameo here.
Oh, he's
Um,
making a cameo, that's for sure.
last music you listen to other than your own?
Oh, I'm gonna check my phone for this one because
Okay.
hmm, on my playlist I have Michael Jackson.
Nice.
That was my last thing I listened to.
Excellent. If you could pick a television show to have one of your songs placed in, what song would you pick? I mean, not what show would you pick? What show would you pick? And what song?
Oh, like a TV show, like
Yeah,
a any
TV.
any sort of TV show.
Yeah, any type of TV show.
I've got to go with something like Friends or Seinfeld.
Okay.
That's just yeah. I'm obsessed with Friends, and
Right.
also I've been getting into Seinfeld because I've also got the Seinfeld pajamas. Like I'm a bit of a nerd like that.
Yeah.
But my dad is really, really into Seinfeld. That's like the only thing apart from Aussie rules football that he'll watch. So yeah, probably that.
All right. What is a day off from music like for you? If you're not going to do anything musical, if such a day exists, what do you do?
I don't think such a day does exist, honestly. Especially in the Genevsky household, because we're always like blasting like rap music, or there's definitely something going on at some point, or I'm hearing my dad jam or listening to the new Wicked Smile track. But yeah, I think it's definitely got to incorporate gym. Gym is like a must.
Yep.
Probably, potentially some like uni work or something that like I need to get done on a day off, or like hanging with my friends or my mates.
Cool. If you go to the amusement park, are you a roller coaster or a Ferris wheel girl?
Oh, roller coaster all the
Roller
way.
coaster. I had that feeling.
Yeah, we're adrenaline junkies here.
Last one, and this is the one we have the most fun with. And granted, you are young, but still, this could happen. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actress would you pick to play you in the movie? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
Oh my God. That's insane if they would ever do that. But I love Natalie Portman, so I'm gonna go with her.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I could see that. Cassidy, has there been anything that we haven't talked about? Anything you wanted to say? Any subjects we didn't touch on that you would like to? The floor is yours.
Well, that was my dog just barking, so clearly he had something to say there.
Yeah.
But I'd probably just say potentially my single Wannabe is out now. You can listen to it, and my EP Flirt is available on the 1st of September.
And where do they go to pre-order that?
At CassidyParis.com, of course.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I want to point. That's the one thing. Yeah, CassidyParis.com is where you can get all that stuff. You can read up on your bio and see the pics and watch the videos and all this stuff. Definitely. Very cool.
Thank you.
Cassidy, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. This has been awesome. I wish you much luck and success in the future.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You have a great night. Day?
It's nighttime. Yeah, we're coming up about 9:35 p.m. Monday night here.
There you go. You have a great night then.
Take care, Cassidy.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.